Hello, and welcome to another episode of Talking Positive with Randy and Alan. I'm Alan,
And I'm Randy.
and today our guest is Melissa Young from Shelby Township. Thank you for joining us, Melissa.
You're welcome.
Give us a little background of who you are and why you're here.
Well, I am a mom, a wife, a retired teacher, a mom of 4 kids, and I'm here to talk about my son Evan, who passed away in October of 2024 from glioblastoma.
How long was he ill?
He was sick for 2 weeks shy of 1 year. He had a seizure on November 2nd of 23, and ironically, he and his family were supposed to leave out of state 5 days later. My daughter was supposed to go on her honeymoon 2 days later, and we were supposed to leave for Aruba 12 hours later. So thankfully, we happened to all be there when he got sick and went to the hospital, and they found a mass. And so this went on then until October 14th of this past year.
For a lot of people that may not understand what that is, can you explain?
Yeah, glioblastoma is cancer in the brain. It could be in lots of different areas. There are just so many variables to what it can do. His was in his corpus callosum, which is in the center back portion of his brain. The way they described it to us is it's sort of like the highway that passes information from one side of the brain to the other. So lots of short-term memory loss because sort of that connection gets disrupted. But it depends where glioblastoma hits in your brain. That determines what symptoms you have, how it affects you, how long you're sick, all of those things.
You as a mother, when did you start to take notice that something was off?
Oh, well, he was married, so he didn't live with us. However, I had gone there. Well, I had noticed some personality changes. He sort of was a little bit like irritated more than he normally would be. And I'd gone over there to visit my granddaughter he had the seizure on Thursday. I'd gone on Tuesday or Monday or Tuesday. And as we were speaking to him, he said, "Oh, something's wrong with my brain. I can't remember anything." But we kind of likened it to, we all are like, "I'm crazy. I can't remember why I walked in the room."
Right.
And so we really never thought anything of it. So aside from a few stray headaches and a few we say personality change, but honestly, was he just crabby? It was nothing so noticeable that you were like, something's wrong. And so until that day when his wife noticed that he didn't remember declining a Panera order, and he said, "Why didn't you ask me?" But she had just asked him. And then he had the seizure. So there was not a lot of warning.
Could you give us a little background about Evan and who he was?
This guy, oh my gosh. So funny as hell. Oh my gosh. He would, up until the end, he had us just rolling. He just never stopped. That's what she said jokes. Oh my goodness. He would just keep us laughing. Super smart. He was a bridge engineer. He loved his family and friends dearly. Loved his daughter. She was just the light of his life. He was married to Erica, his wife, and they had just bought a house in Birmingham near her parents a few years prior to this. He was just a great, funny guy, competitive, sports fan, big heart, loves to debate. Boyhood debate. He's not going to back down. Yeah, just a great, great guy.
And so once he was diagnosed, what was that like at that particular time, if you can think back?
When he went in that day for the seizure and he was in the ER, and they came in and told his wife and I that there was an unidentified mass, and it makes your stomach do a flip of panic. But even still, not really, really understanding that this could be this serious. My father-in-law had epilepsy. We thought maybe he just had a seizure and it was just symptomatic of something like that. But as the few days rolled out and he was in the hospital, we left there after they biopsied his head, the mass. And even after a few days, we went to see the neuro-oncologist, I believe, through Beaumont. And he told us it was glioblastoma, which is, of everything that it could tentatively have been, the worst case scenario, just the thing you don't want to hear. The 5-year survival rate is about 5%. Just terrible, terrible. So I don't know how to explain what living in, like, reality didn't feel like reality. You were walking it, talking it, living it, but it just, you couldn't believe that's what it was. But you know what? We're handlers, and so we just kept trying to get the best care we could. We ended up through Henry Ford. Um, but everything is rolling out, and you're just like having to put one foot in front of the other. But it's hard to take time to absorb what's really happening.
And that's one of the things on this show that we talk about when we bring our guests on, is really trying to understand that process
Hmm.
of putting the one foot in front of the other.
Hmm.
Because obviously having that type of devastating news, it can ruin a lot of people, and a lot of people can't recover just from the news itself.
Yeah.
So as a family, especially Evan, his wife, and you and his father, how how were you all able to keep the light shining in order to put that one foot in front of the other?
Um, Part of it is my husband and I said we were so thankful we had each other. Like I've talked about, we've been together since 11th grade. So, you've got a bond of just like we're in it together. I've got 3 other children. He has a wife and daughter. And we were all just like, what's next? Let's do what's next. Let's do what it takes. And the other thing was not knowing this outcome. Every day you wake up with a mix of hope and fear. But you go with the hope because it's what you have to go with. You have to take that road and try anything you can. And also never wanting Ev to feel dread or fear. So we kept the smile. I mean, we kept it as happy as we could. We took him and did things as much as we possibly could. He would have bad days, but I can honestly say until almost the end, he never saw me cry. He never saw his dad cry. Well, maybe once. But we wanted, why am I going to waste time? We don't have time to waste. Like, we want any minute we have with him to be good as it can be. And so, while part of you is like, I can't believe this is happening, the other part of you is like, no, we're going to make every second count.
A lot of times it's harder on the caregiver
Mm-hmm.
or
Mm-hmm.
those that are
Yes.
in the background than
Yeah.
it is on the patient. What was Evan's first reaction? And
It's funny you say that. He said in the hospital when he first got diagnosed, he said to us, to me and my husband, I bet this is harder on you than it is on me. And I said, why? He goes, because if Avery was sick, it would be worse to me than me being sick. So he had the perspective of being a parent and understanding that this is your worst nightmare. And so he had that empathy and understanding. I don't he never I don't think his true perspective was ever doom and gloom. Although, because what makes it so complicated is it's in your brain. So he had all this short-term memory loss, and he had a seizure somewhere in between. He had a lot of stuff happen down the road, so he would forget he had brain cancer. So then when he'd learn of it again, he would be upset and sad. Or he would just get frustrated and be crying and upset. And so it was really hard to deal with that attitude of anxiety and fear when he would have it, but then he would sort of forget he had it. So it was very complex. You couldn't just explain, um, you know, you need to use the walker to get to the bathroom, because he would then forget he needed the walker to be in the bed. It just was so complex. Um, so we all just kind of locked arms and took shifts and worked together. And I mean, we had, his wife took really good care of him. She did a great job. But I mean, between the medications and the alternative medications and the sleep interruptions and it was just so much. But I was so thankful that I had a job that I was able to take time off work and be with him. And his wife works from home, so she was able to be there more. Evan had a good job that paid him long-term disability, so that some of that burden wasn't there.
Yeah.
And at that point, time was our biggest gift. So that we just walked. You never knew what to expect each day. We called it a roller coaster a lot because it definitely was a roller coaster a lot.
And you said Avery's how old?
She's 2.5,
2.5.
and she is the light of the world. I mean, that
Right.
kid kept us all going when there were times that were tough. It was she is absolutely the shining star. And I'm telling you, up until the day before he died, she still had him smile. If he saw her, he was smiling.
Wow.
Yeah. So
And how long was he battling?
2 weeks shy of a year.
2 weeks shy of a year.
Mhm,
I lost two sisters and a niece
mhm,
from cancer.
mhm.
And through all of that, my oldest sister passed. She was the first one. And obviously, just that pain of going through that and really, the family having to dealing with that was tough.
Mhm.
Then my sister passed. And my other sister passed. I'm sorry. And again, something we had seen before, thought she would get past it, but she didn't make it either. And then my older sister daughter ended up with cancer. And I would honestly say with her, I had never seen anyone look death in the eye and smile.
Mhm.
And no matter how sad the family got, she was like a rock and she was steady and she was, don't cry for me. I'm fine. I lived
Mhm.
a great life. As long as my kids took care of, I'm fine. How was Evan in those last days? Was he cognizant of what was happening? Was he okay with everything?
Yes, he's sort of, because of the confusion,
Sure.
but he never forgot any of us. He always knew us. Um, but it was in the fall, so there was football games on and all that
Mhm.
stuff. And he'd say, "Oh, I went to the game yesterday." So for the last 3 weeks, he was bedridden, but he almost like didn't realize he was bedridden, which was such a gift.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, yeah. So it's hard to say if he really knew, because there, like, confusion comes in
Yeah.
there at some point. Even though we could still sit and have a little conversation, there would be moments of just, it was just hard. Things just got mixed up in his brain. My mom passed 5 years before that from cancer in 19
Mhm.
days. And she did the same thing though. They were the strong ones. I don't really know how that happens, but
Right.
never shed a tear. She's still telling my dad not to forget the towel when he takes a shower, trying to take care of everyone else still.
Wow.
Um, but Evan was he didn't, aside from moments, like I said, it's kind of hard to say because when you add the brain in there,
Yeah.
so many different aspects come in that you're not sure, is it the disease, is it the mood, is it an emotion. It was really, it was a strange road to follow. It really was. So
How about during treatments? Like he probably had radiation and chemo.
he had radiation and oral chemo. He never had to have
Oh,
infusion, so that was nice. But he was supposed to have 6 rounds of chemo, and we stopped after 3 because it to be forthright and honest, it wasn't going to cure it, and it made him really sick.
Mhm.
And so we at just some point decided, let's try some alternative things, and if that doesn't work, then we're not going to make his last days painful and worse and harder for him. So
Randy was just talking about his situation as a sibling. How are your other children
yeah,
dealing with this?
well, we always said we had like the big two and the little two. We had Evan, who died at 29, my daughter's 31, and then we have the younger two who are 24 and 22. And so they had really different relationships. Evan and Katie were really close for most of their lives. Um, and she was the oldest sister to 3 brothers, so she was the mother hen over them, and it's been hard for her. They were trying to have a baby, and then right when he passed, she got pregnant. And he would always say, "Who's it?" He was a question asker. Oh man, who's the next one to have a baby? Who's the next one to have a baby? So, um, and Logan is number 3. He's a firefighter, and he's a little more stoic with his emotions. Um, so he feels it, but he doesn't always say it.
Express it.
Yeah, my youngest one, Carson, he's the sensitive soul, and it's been real rough for him. They were sort of more similar in personality, those two. And so we just we try to bring him up and laugh at all the stories. And I mean, there's so many to laugh at. We were just skiing and just laughing about things he used to do at the hill. And so, but my husband and him were truly best friends, and it was very, very difficult for my husband. Um, I mean, between sports and cars, you could not get a word in. They love to talk. So,
Wow.
um, it's a challenge. I mean, but we try to keep his memory alive and happy.
And that was my next question because obviously going through the diagnosis and the treatments is one mindset, but definitely after you lose someone, that's all out the window. Not all out the window, but you understand it's just different. What was the process then of trying to put the one foot in front of the other to move
Yeah,
forward?
I always call it a faith crisis. It's a little bit of a where you're just like, you can want something so bad, you don't get to know why, you don't get to have the answer you want. So I started the nonprofit probably in around July or August. And it began when
And what's the name of it? I'm
Yeah, I
sorry.
was gonna get.
Champ well, now Champ was the name that all of his friends called him anyway. It was like, hey Champ. When he would get mail from his buddy, it was to Evan Champ Young. It was just, so that was his name, but also the acronym is for Cancer Hope Alternative Medication Partners, because we watched Evan find such relief in cannabis and THC products for sleeplessness, anxiety, frustration.
Mhm.
When he started to get really worked up, we could like take him outside. He could either smoke or have a sleep gummy if he was having trouble sleeping. And we really noticed like this is expensive. This is really expensive. And they were fortunate that he had a good job, that there was some expendable income, people who could help get those things for him. When I mean, the counter was just full of pill bottles, and it didn't always work. Nothing completely worked, but it was so helpful to him. And it was sort of new to my world, but truly, like, I just didn't understand how helpful it could be. So, as I started trying to think, because Evan and I, boy, I love that guy, but me and him were opposite ends of the spectrum on lots of things, like politics. And I told you he could debate, and I can't debate very well. And so I had to find something that he would be proud of. He would think the same that I thought about it. Um, and so as I started trying to come up with something that I could do with to help others, to give, to serve, um, this started evolving, and it came around to the fact that um, we would try to find dispensaries to work with us to help give people credit to purchase products. But then, even the first three people I've helped, none of them have needed help in that area. They've needed help with bills, or the one friend who needed a touch lamp, because he couldn't get up to do the lights. Um, One lady I contacted through Facebook, through Angels Among Us. She needed help with like staples, food staples, toilet paper, things like that.
Mhm.
Help with their mortgage. I contacted her. I had an order sent through shipped to their house, so I was able to give to them in all different ways. So it evolves, but I knew I would need to do something, because when that door closes and things are over and the dust settles, and I just retired, I knew I would need somewhere
Oh,
to
yeah.
put my energy that I could feel productive and giving. um, I am wired to do that anyway. So this way now I can anchor it to Evan and feel it feeds my soul this way too, as well as helping others.
They say you never know what God has planned for
Absolutely
you,
true.
and
Right.
as you say, the timing is right. With Can you give us a little more about Champ? Like, who's involved? Is it just you and your husband? Can anybody be involved?
Um, well, I have a few close friends who have helped me, and my nephew has been a really big help. He works for a hospital system, and he's done fundraisers. And this is all new to me. This is all I created a website. Wow, did I think I was big stuff? Because I started this from the ground up, creating my logo, and it's probably takes me 5 times longer than someone young and tech savvy. But truly, it's been a labor of love that I have built up and built up. And so we have a website, champproject.org, and We also have a Facebook page that's Champ Incorporated, and anyone can donate. As of right now, I'm looking for dispensaries who would be interested in working with us. Um, and what I really need, quite honestly, is people to help. I need people who need help and have cancer. That's really my only criteria. There's an application on the website. It is not invasive, but because of the nature of having dispensaries involved, I do need to know, um, just tell us your story, really.
Right.
Like the first person I helped is a friend of a friend, and she's a server, a waitress, and her husband works at I believe, a steel company. And without her being able to work, like it's going to be a true struggle financially for them. And so I was able to help have some bills. But I need people to help. But I also have to pad up my account a little more because now I had my small startup. So we're having our first fundraiser May 2nd at Vivio's 2 in Warren at 12 and Ryan.
Hmm.
And so I'm hoping that by then that helps rebuild us up, spread the word. The nice thing is it's been a slow rollout because, after Evan passed, I didn't need a fast. I needed something that I can take in bite-sized pieces so that I can work on it when I can. If I need a day to just not, I don't have to. So I have a few good friends who have volunteered to help me, but I don't really have any. I haven't had a need for a large group of people because it's small peanuts right now.
Hmm.
I am hoping it grows.
And Evan's wife, what's her name?
Erica.
Erica. I'm sure you're in touch with Erica,
Mhm.
if not every day.
I
almost
see.
every
I
day.
go over there about once a week to see.
Yes,
her
so
grandbaby.
Carson, who was like Eric's protege, or Eric was,
Oh,
I mean,
Evans.
Evan's protege,
Mhm.
excuse me. Is he close with Erica? Or?
Not really. She's got a really tight network of her own family who lives really nearby.
Mhm.
To proximity. I mean, they're all there. They're all in Birmingham. And so it's really like, I think we all just have to handle it at our own pace with our own people. And so it's a learning experience for all of us how we work around this. It's just a
It's still
strange,
fresh.
it's still
too.
really fresh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're working on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was there anything else that Evan had always wanted to do or always talked about doing? Is it something that you guys as a family would consider doing
It's funny.
remind yourself of him?
It's really funny. The one thing he really wanted, because him and my husband took scuba diving lessons. I mean, the
Oh.
kid did a lot of stuff. But in 28 years, he did a lot of stuff, but he always wanted to skydive. And so, unfortunately, when he got sick, he got under 250 pounds because he was a big built guy.
Oh, wow.
Never got to do it though. But that was his one thing that he still really wanted to do was skydive. I might be able to be talked into it. My husband's already done it. My other son's already done it. But
Oh.
Now they have you do it tandem. When I did it,
that's what he
when I
did.
was at Wayne State, I was solo.
Oh no, even tandem. I don't know. I could maybe talk to him.
It's fun.
Yeah,
You try it. You really, you will like
I
it.
think I probably could be talked into it. But my goal, my feeling is that I want Evan's legacy passed down to Avery. The gift we got by having him be sick for a year was so many videos, so many pictures, so many things that, like I said, Evan and I, he liked to debate, and him and my husband were super close. Evan and I got really close over that year, and I got to mother him again, which is right up my alley. I'm a motherer totally. So a teacher, I mean, it's just in my blood to do that. So I got to mother him again, and it was so, as awful as it was a gift as well. So, but so there's nothing more to me right now because Avery was the most important thing to him, and so my goal is to make sure she remembers how much he loved her, and we have craft time with Grammy every week, and so that's where we're
And
at
as
with
she
that.
gets older, she'll have pictures of her dad.
Yes, and recordings of them
videos.
together. Yeah,
That's the one thing technology is good
yes, for
Yeah.
sure. We really like to travel. We used to travel with Evan and Erica a lot. Just just checking out new places, and I think that's good for people too, just to see the world through different eyes. And um, so yeah, we'll continue to do that. We'll start that back up because that was kind of on hold for a while there. We had a couple
Right.
little long weekends, but it wasn't a year of. There was really no 100% relaxation ever, and for any day that year.
Sure.
It was a year of stress and worry and
Right.
concern and purpose. And so now we're sort of trying to settle back into a different life, a different life, but one that still has him present in the things we do.
Do you hear from his friends a lot still?
Well, his one best friend lived directly across the street from us, and actually, Evan he was Evan's best man. He had his two really close buddies, Mike and Joe, and he actually both of them got married last summer, and he was able barely to make it to both of their weddings.
Oh, wow.
And so that was a really
That was
nice
their wedding
gift.
gift.
Yes, it truly
Wow.
was. So but Mike's family and us were really close with them. Joe is also a dentist, so we talk to him sometimes, but not as much just because he doesn't live as close.
Cool.
But yeah, they'll be important to us always because he loved his friends. He really did.
Nice.
So
What advice would you share with someone who may have a family member that they're going through the struggles that you guys had to go through in dealing with someone being sick with cancer?
um I would say a couple things. I would say take the pictures and take the videos. Just
Mm.
for sure do it. Ask the questions, say the things, don't leave anything unsaid. And even though there's going to be terrible days, find the good still. And I think I said it too. If you don't find the good, what's it all for? Like you have to find the gifts in it because, you know, no matter how awful it is, there's people who have it worse. Um, I, we don't get to understand it. We don't get to know the why, but just make the most of it. Don't waste the time. You don't waste it. Take every minute you can and make a memory and just love on them. Love on them as much as you can. It's hard. It's hard, but make as many memories as you can.
Was there anything that Evan got to do that he wanted to do, knowing that?
You know what?
He
His
was
wife
facing this.
and her family and him, they all went on a Disney cruise.
Oh, wow.
Right near the beginning. And the part we could all laugh about was he took the cruise and then he'd go, I went on a cruise? Oh, that's awesome. And then a week later, I went on a cruise, you gotta just laugh at and it was
You got to find the
he
humor.
wanted my husband to get a Tesla and he got the Tesla and every day he found out another time he got the Tesla and he was just so happy every time. So
Oh, wow.
but yeah, that they called it Mickey's Boat, and that was really a gift because it was a good family adventure for them. That they delayed his start of his chemo by a week to get to go, and I'm really thankful that the doctors knew the importance of making sure that happened because that was a really
So,
lovely time for their family.
so you would also say then it's important to have the right medical team involved with.
Absolutely. In fact, when he first got sick, we had a nice team of doctors at Beaumont, but they said it was inoperable.
Mm.
But what they didn't say is it's inoperable at Beaumont. It wasn't inoperable at Henry Ford, and they got 85% of the tumor out.
Oh, wow.
Um, you know, through all things like cancer, you don't get to know what the other outcome would have been. You choose your path and go forward with as much confidence as you can. Did it buy him more time? Did it give him less time? We don't know, but you have to find the right team that you feel confident in and go with it for sure.
And the fact that you said they understood.
Yes,
there,
that is very true.
As you know, my wife passed away
Yes.
from cancer, and if it weren't for the doctors and the team, I don't know if she would have made it the 5.5 years that
Right.
she did.
Right.
And her attitude, of course.
Of course.
But he just these doctors, or I always say people that go into the oncology field are very special people.
Absolutely. And this we knew the odds with this type of cancer. And I'm really glad that they just said, go do it. Go do this first. And I mean, of course, his wife asked, and that was what they said. But I was really grateful that they got to do that together. So
Nice.
yeah. So
Well, thank you
you're
Yes,
so
welcome.
much.
really
Thanks for talking to
appreciate
me.
this.
Yes, it's an
Linda,
excellent
on a
story.
high note, a little bit. What's coming up in the next week or two?
Aruba, that's coming up. We do. We have a couple trips planned. I'm going tomorrow to see Avery. We're gonna do our Valentine craft. So, I keep myself busy enough. I give myself time to decompress and sit with my dog and relax sometimes. But I try to keep something on the horizon all the time. So we do have a few trips planned, and and spending time with her, and then waiting for this new grandson of mine coming at the end of the summer. So,
Nice.
lots of good stuff.
You'll be in town for that.
Yes, I'll be in town for that for sure. So it was nice to talk to you guys. So
Well, thank
you.
you very
Thank
much,
you.
Melissa.
Thank
We
you.
really appreciate your time.
Yeah, this has been an excellent story and interview.
Thank you. Thank you.
Your grace and patience with everything has really
Thank you.
made a difference with me and really
Had
brightened my
me-
day.
Yeah,
So,
it's had me-
yeah,
you.
I appreciate the story and your time. So thank you.
Thanks. It was nice to talk to you guys.
Yeah.
If you'd like to be a guest on our show or know anyone who may want to be a guest on Talking Positive with Randy and Alan, you can call us at 313-454-1104 or email us at talkingpositivepod@gmail.com. Wishing all of you a positive day.
See you next time.